Hello, Gomez.
Hello, Morticia.
This podcast isn't going to be quite as fun for people just listening.
No, you have to see. You got to get on Spotify and look at this.
So,
all of this.
I have waited. Well, titty adjustment. I've waited 14 and a half patient years.
You have been very patient about it.
For this moment.
Yes.
I have wanted to dress up as Morticia and Gomez since day one. Yes. And the time has come.
Finally. Took you long enough.
Nice mustache.
Do you like that?
I do like that. I wonder who did that.
Looks pretty good.
Makeup artist did a really good job.
I like that little missing piece right there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone ever seen Parks and Rec? Friction.
Which would be very appropriate for Morticia and Gomez.
Yes, right.
Because he can't keep his hands off of Morticia, right?
Yeah.
I think we look great.
I do too.
My favorite
it's
part.
A lot of fun.
My favorite part of your costume is the bottom half.
Yeah.
Here in a minute, at the end of this podcast, we're going to stand up and show you what we look like from the waist down.
I think that's what most news anchors do. They dress up on top and have shorts. Yeah, I've got my athletic shoes on and my athletic shorts.
Mm-hmm. And I have this dress that has a slit all the way up to my uterus, and I have leggings and on clouds on.
So we're good for a costume or we're good for a run. Either way, we're covered, right? I like that.
We're big Halloween people.
We love Halloween. Halloween was a huge part of us for a long time. Actually, after we got married, we kind of honeymooned. We did honeymoon for Halloween.
Yeah.
And we saw
Cher
Halloween night.
Oh man, that was amazing.
She was 2.5 hours late.
Something like that. Yeah.
That was interesting.
It was great though.
It was a lot of fun once she got on stage. I mean, seeing her ass getting those assless chaps, broken fucking rocket still. I know it's not her singing, but damn.
And that was her last, it was, Turn Back Time, I think was the encore.
Yeah, it was.
Because the whole show went, and I was like, if I don't see Cher's bare ass on that stage, I'm going to be pissed.
It was so cool, too, because she would go into, I'm sure you remember, but she kept going into this, it was like a dressing room, but it was more like a time machine kind of thing. And then she would come out in all these outfits of the different, decades she was in and stuff like that, dressed as whatever she was in the video. It was really cool. She put on a hell of a show.
Oh my God, yeah, she does. And then she did I Got You with Sunny on the screen in the background. She did a little burlesque moment because the movie was really big then. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I am due for a honeymoon 2.0 though, because I found out I was pregnant, right after our wedding, right after we got married, surprise pregnancy. And so by the time we took our honeymoon, I was pregnant. So it was very limited in what I could do. Not that I would drink now, but I mean, still, you're 25, 26 weeks pregnant.
And then actually you got morning sickness on.
I did.
That was bad for 2 days. So we actually had to skip out on a couple of shows. So
yeah,
I do owe you a couple of shows.
Lion King and Cirque du Soleil, which to this day, I have yet to see a Cirque du Soleil show.
Which is
surprising.
Very surprising to me because I've seen quite a few.
This wig has a mind of its own. Oh my goodness.
Halloween used to be a huge drinking holiday for us, I think.
Oh my gosh,
it was probably bigger than New Year's for us. We used to be known as the
Moonshine House.
Moonshine House. We would, and we still do. I mean, we decorate the house, not as big as we did, but we basically did it as not really a thank you to the neighborhood, but hey, everybody come and meet us. We're cool kids. And we gave away food and beer and
shots of moonshine.
Shit. It was just, God, it was stupid.
Well, we got the idea from the neighborhood we lived in before, remember? Because we would walk around with our daughter and she was really little at the time. and there was a house, and they would open their garage, and they decorated the garage, and they had like where the kids could go up and trick or treat. And I think a lot of people do this now, but that was really the first time we'd seen it. I mean,
they were smart about it because it looked like everybody in the neighborhood chipped in like it was a potluck.
I don't know.
And
Maybe.
then you could literally like grab a plate, grab whatever you wanted. Our dumbasses kind of paid for everything. So we did the whole setup.
Yeah.
Food, alcohol, drink, and everything. Yeah, and it was crazy because, the kids would just go trick or treat and all the adults hung out at our house. Which now you're thinking, damn, that's kind of.
Yeah. We would go to the old Smoky Mountain Moonshine or whatever in Pigeon Forge, and we would buy we would do the tasting, and we would buy it, and then we would bring it back and hand out shots and beer and all that. I do think that we need to revive that sober edition, though, because I think we could still do the same thing and offer like NA drinks and mocktails, cool like the kids could come up and get fun, like Halloween drinks and all that stuff.
More geared towards the kids, like it should be.
Yeah, because I do think the idea was good, but I mean that kind of plays into how, Halloween is another big drinking holiday that everybody talks about how Thanksgiving you drink in family and New Year's and St. Patrick's Day and all those. But I feel like Halloween is one of those holidays where it is another huge drinking holiday. Just nobody really talks about it because it's usually just parents taking their kids around with Yetis.
Yeah, and it depends on what day it falls on too. Because if it's the middle of the week, then it's like the Saturday before. It's nuts, all the parties and stuff like that. It just gets a little crazy.
It gets a little crazy, and we used to be those parents. We'd walk around and drink and take the kids trick or treating, and it's crazy because you think you're having fun, and you are. Like, I mean, we have a great time on Halloween, but you're so exhausted by the end of it. Now, not that we don't get tired just from like dressing up and the trick or treating, but I find that, last year, and I know it'll be even better this year, by the end of the night, you're still like, you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to bed. I feel like shit. We'll be like, let's watch a movie, Like, I feel like we'll be more inclined to stay up and watch a movie and eat candy and, just have a really good time. I'm excited. Halloween is like...
Yeah, it's huge in this house.
It's like my favorite holiday.
Lily's Halloween and Christmas for sure. Those are big, but Halloween's very, very big.
I definitely handed down my love of the holidays to her. And my mom handed it down to me. So it's almost like a family heirloom, which I know everybody says that, but like, Lily, when she turned 3, because we picked out obviously her first and second costumes. But when she turned 3, when she was 3, that was the first time, if you remember, we like walked into Party City and she was on, like, she made it very clear.
Yeah. She had a couple of them.
I am picking my own Halloween costume out. And even to this day, she always dresses up as at least 2 or 3 different things.
Yeah, she has one for her, like a school party or something like that, and then one for Halloween. So.
And she always picks out the coolest thing. My favorite was Jessie from Toy Story.
Yeah.
I'll have to repost those pictures.
That was really cute. That, and the one year she did some kind of zombie thing.
Zombie bride.
Zombie bride, which we wouldn't let her...
She couldn't wear it to school because, I mean, and I will say it was adorable, but I get the problematic part of it.
So she was like Supergirl at school and then dead zombie bride on Halloween.
It did like fake blood on her mouth and like gaunt eyes. It looked really cool. Yeah, she always picks out cool stuff. This year, and I don't watch the show, but I know it's really popular. She's dressing up as Rob from Love Island, or she dressed up as that for a holiday, which I didn't even know what that was until I looked it up. So she had like the overalls and a big snake tattoo. And then at the very last minute, and I have mixed feelings about this that I'm going to keep to myself, but she decided to dress up as Soldier Boy.
Oh, is that what she's doing for school or for Halloween?
Which I think just means she's going to wear a white t-shirt and baggy jeans.
Oh, nice. That's a thing?
Yeah, I had a whole...
Crank that?
I had a whole conversation with her about appropriation, and so we nipped that one in the bud real fast.
Gotcha.
So white t-shirt, baggy jeans. Yeah, I don't even know where that came from. I didn't even know that 13-year-olds new
That's what I
Soldier
said.
Boy
I didn't know that
was.
was a that was a thing. That's like
So,
that's like 20 years old. That's
and
interesting.
so yeah, it'll be Morticia Gomez and Soldier Boy.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
You make a very attractive Gomez, if I might say so myself.
Thank you very much.
Very, very
I like
nice.
the costume. It's kind of neat. It's different.
I think we look fantastic.
Yep. I love it.
So it's just us today on the podcast. We don't have any guests or anything like that.
Nope.
It'll be probably a little bit of a shorter podcast today just because we're trying to keep it light, keep it fresh. But yeah, Halloween and sobriety. You know, I feel like this time of year with the holidays, everybody has a little bit of seasonal depression. But, you know, it's difficult during the holidays. Even I find myself wanting to be like, oh, you know, I wanted to have a glass of wine or something, which I haven't been drinking either. Mm-hmm. But how are you feeling going into the holiday season? Because last year you were freshly sober, so I still feel like you were running on that high. Yeah. But now that it's
last year was easy. And I think this year is easy too. I've just had past few days have been different for me. They've been really tough. I've kind of kept it all in and tried figuring it out for myself, but I feel like someone has emptied out a 1,000-piece puzzle scattered throughout the house, and I can't put it back together. And it's like I feel like I just don't fit in anything, and I don't know what it is. You know, I've got a huge community around me, behind me. I've got a podcast. You know, I've great family, friends, and it's almost like I'm in my own head. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. I can't put my finger on it. I don't feel like shit. It's like all these emotions running through me. And, you know, it's not like a future trip like we had talked about before, anything like that. It's just like right now, today, it's the emotions have just been running through me. Everything, you know, I don't really get upset, but I can feel myself getting jumpy real quick. Things will irritate me real fast, and you know, I've got the tools to get through it, but it feels like it's an ongoing thing, like it's not stopping. It's just this fucking freight train of emotions. I'm on it. I'm driving the damn thing, and I'm pulling the emergency thing, and it's broke. So you know, I don't know. It's so weird, and it's new to me. You know, normally when things like this would come up, I would separate myself from everybody, drink about my problems, and wake up the next morning like nothing happened. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm living with these emotions and I'm feeling these emotions. It's different. You know, I've gone through this before, but I haven't experienced anything like I'm feeling right now. It's very, very different. Mm-hmm. And it's been hard. Mm-hmm. But I've reached out to a few people, kind of explained what's going on. I'm trying to get in touch with a therapist and see if I can get in quicker than what they're telling me, just because I need to kind of get, you know, all this word vomit out, I guess, and try to figure out what the hell's going on with it.
Yeah, and therapy is always good for all the obvious reasons, but, you know, non-biased, professional, clinical, you know, listening and feedback. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I agree that I think that some of it is you're not used to just sitting in those feelings. Mm-hmm. And something I'm going to commend you on is you're not suppressing, you're not hiding, you're not pushing away. You know, you've been feeling this way for however long before you even talked to me about it. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, not that I'm saying that I don't want you to talk to me about things, sure. But I think that when people notice that something is off, when they're able to just stop, like, okay, just stop. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Acknowledge it. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to make it better. You don't even really have to respond to it at first. Just acknowledge and take inventory of what you're feeling. And I think what I'm hearing, at least, is that you really wanted to feel that and kind of navigate that within yourself. And you talk to your sober community and things like that. And I think that that's great too. But all of those people, like sober community, friends, me, those are all very biased people, which you also need. And you need those communities. I'm so grateful for Reframe. But something that we've talked about, and I know you've expressed to me, is you are ready to sort of jump into the side of the mental health aspect of it. Like you've been so hard on the physical health and the sobriety, and you want to continue that, but you feel like you need something more now.
Yeah.
And so I think that
I think I've worked on, like you said, I've been working on my sobriety and this physical side of me for so long, almost 18 months. And, it's not that I have a grasp on it. I know I do. But I don't want to think that way. I don't want to let my guard down on it by any means. But I also know that I've got to work on myself more. I feel like I'm helping others and stuff like that all the time, which I do, and I love doing. People reach out to me for help or, little advice, nothing big, anything big. You got to talk to your doctor about stuff. But, if it's something, little I can help with, I'm there for you. But it's weird being on this side of it because I feel like I've never been on this side. I'm the kind of person that never asked for help. So I would always just try to figure it out on my own, even though people were willing to help. You've always been willing to help, willing to maybe steer me in the right direction, whether it be with advice or, hey, maybe you need to go see this person, talk to this person. I was always just like, no, I got it. With everything. And now I know that I need to ask for help. And it's tough. It's really hard. It's, to me, asking for help is going to my mom and dad and saying, hey, I need help. I'm having this problem. Well, it's nothing they can help me with.
Yeah.
It's trying to get someone outside to look in me or get something out of me, whatever it is, and then help me diagnose what the problem is, and then let's start working on that. And I think I really need to spend more time on that to get myself better.
Yeah, mentally. We've talked about this multiple times, but substance abuse, alcoholism, addiction, whatever you self-identify is a symptom of the actual problem, right? So we talked about this on another podcast. Like I said, you've treated the infection.
Yeah.
Right? So I say your the meetings and the 75 hard and all that was like your round of steroids and antibiotics. You have cleaned the wound and you have cleared the infection, but the wound is still there, right? And it'll scar. It'll always be there to some degree, and it's going to hurt when you hit it every once in a while. But now you actually have to start stitching it up and really being able to let it heal. And I think that's something that people don't talk about enough is, you're sober. That's amazing. You're doing 75 hard. That's amazing. Our marriage is great. That's amazing. This podcast, all of that. But you didn't just wake up and get sober and life was just wonderful. It is a constant, I don't want to call it a battle because it doesn't feel like war. It's just, like you said, you have to constantly be active within your own life and your sobriety. So, when you do something every single day for 18 months the same way, eventually it's not that you become desensitized, but you go on autopilot, whether you're trying to or not. It's not that you're not getting stuff out of it. It just becomes muscle memory. The same way as when you would drink, right? Towards the end of your drinking, you could drink a 6-pack and that would be that's not even scratching an itch. If you tried to drink a 6-pack now, you'd be puking and falling out on the floor and feeling like shit. So it's the same thing in the sense of now you're increasing your tolerance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you got to get to the, why, the whys, the hows. And, no one can help you with that. I think the thing about therapy or psychiatry or anything is it's not that they give you some sort of like revolutionary advice.
Right.
But they just they make you ask yourself questions that you've not ever thought of or that you've really hesitated to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And
that's what I need, because, like you said, it's, I didn't wake up, that May 20th and last year. And I, obviously I made my decision, but the problems and issues didn't go away. And, some of those problems and issues will creep up every once in a while and you have to deal with them. It's just dealing with them in a different manner than you did before, which is great. That I've learned that and I'm dealing with it. I have tools and people to reach out to when those things happen. It's just sometimes getting through it is very emotionally draining. Like, and for me, emotionally draining isn't going and taking a nap. It's, for me, I can't sleep or I can't take a nap because, my head's spinning so fast. And, I got to keep busy so I don't think about it. And that's how I wear myself out. It's just been, it's been tough.
It's just been.
Yeah. And normally normally when I have an issue or something like that, it's one of those things like, okay, I know I get in a meeting, which I do. Usually I share, I'll share about it. And I haven't done a lot of that lately because we share a lot on the podcast. Just to be very honest. I feel like I don't need to. I don't want to take up space for someone that needs it or someone new, especially. But I feel like I don't have anything to share. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just, it's one of those things like it's okay. I know what I need to do, but I don't know what to say because it feels like I can't get it out. It's just one of those things like I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't fucking figure it out. Well, I'm trying to.
You're saying it right now.
Yeah, well, I know now I am, but also have a platform where I can talk as much as I want. Which most people don't, which is, great for me because I can just sit out here and babble about bullshit.
Well, that's why we have guests on, too.
And it makes me feel better.
That's why we have guests on, is to give everybody different perspectives and to allow a platform for people to talk about things. Yeah. I said this to you earlier. The fact that you are talking about it and you are acknowledging your feelings, you are leaps and bounds ahead of, like I said, 99% of people. And, I heard you say that you have to stay busy so that you don't think about it. Well, that's something to unpack there too. And I'm sure that's triggering for you where you're like, here I go again, not being able to sleep and all of that. It just, our minds and our lives and our bodies have a tendency to bring us back to reality, like to remind us that if we get hurt, we can most certainly bleed. And I think we live in a society where we push away all like in-depth feeling and emotion. I don't want to say negative because there is no such thing as a positive or a negative emotion. All emotions are normal, they're human. But we live in a society where it is, you are in pain, you take pain medications. You're depressed, you take antidepressants. And I'm medicated. I am not anti-medication. But I think the biggest component that a lot of people miss is, number one, you're not broken. So you don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. Number two, there's no substance, medication, magic wand, my mom used to call it, that just makes it all go away. The medication, the therapy, the meetings, the 75 hard, those are all just, like you said, you feel like those are all pieces of your puzzle that is splattered out on the floor.
No, I get
and
that.
You've got one corner of it put together. But now you're like, oh my God, now I have the rest of it.
And that's the thing.
And I don't know where the next piece is. And that's scary and it's daunting and it's real. And you have to sit in those feelings and nobody enjoys doing that. You also grew up an athlete and we don't have to go into this a lot, but there's a whole thing, and, psychology and research, and about men and emotions, athletes and emotions, and being raised as a young boy in our society, being like, especially when you were a kid, it's like, oh, you're sad about something. Well, get out there and beat somebody's ass on the ice rink about it.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
you're a product of the time,
Yeah. Emotions were tough because you had to perceive as tough, and you weren't allowed to show emotion, because if you did, you were, it was a sign of weakness. And I think, I think in my family, it's kind of what it was. It was really a sign of weakness, and you weren't, I'm not saying you weren't allowed to show it, but sometimes when you did, it made things worse.
You were only allowed to show it as long as it wasn't interfering with anything else important, right? Like, you have a hockey game going on, you don't have time to be sad or upset.
No,
we'll talk about that later.
Done. Yeah.
And later usually just doesn't come, because by then, whatever.
So it's tough. And the thing is, I know I'm going to get through it, which, is a lot different than what it used to be. So I know it's just and it's not something that happens overnight. I know it's going to take time. And I'm okay with that. I got nothing but time now. So,
this will continue to happen. You'll be doing this 10, 15 years from now. I'm really proud of you for what it's worth. I don't like toxic positivity, people being like, but you have so much stuff, be happy for. Okay, shut the hell up, Karen. Who asked you?
Shut up, Janice.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Shut up, Janice. Thanks a lot. I don't want fucking hearts and rainbows right now. So we try not to do that, but I'm proud of you. Thanks. I'm proud of you for sitting in those feelings. I'm proud of you for acknowledging them. I am thankful that you shared with me. You're never, and I let you know this all the time, you're never obligated to share things like that with me. And it's not that you don't trust. I'm your wife. Sometimes the people who are close to you and are so invested in you, you're hesitant to share, not that you don't want to like tell them that, but that you don't want to stress them out or them, make them really worried.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't want to, I don't want to worry you or, anybody in the family, just because I don't want to worry that I'm going back to do something that I'm not going to do. But that still lingers in my head a little bit too, which, like I told you, when I first started feeling it, obviously I journal about it, and I did, I journaled it. I dumped a lot of shit in my journal about it. And then I reached out to a couple of friends of mine, sober friends, and just kind of, let them know, hey, this is kind of what I'm going through. This sucks. What do you think? They're like, hey, you're going to be fine. You're going to get through it. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just need to hear it from somebody else, which was really cool.
I think I need
because sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah. And I think I need to say too, just for the record, even if you're not okay, and even if you feel like you're not getting through it, that's okay too. Like, there's some finish line.
Yeah. It's just sometimes, you again, you think back, right, in the emotion, and you're like, even though I know where I'm at, I don't know where everybody else thinks I'm at or knows where I'm at. So, it's hard for me to dump some emotional stuff on, you or my mom or dad or my daughter, anybody that, hey, I'm having a rough time right now, because the first thing I think is, okay, well, if I tell them that, they think, well, we better be on high alert. This could be it. This could be what puts him over the edge. We may get a phone call, he's damn casino or something, and it's just, that's not going to happen.
And that's a lot of insecurity too. I mean, this is why we say addiction, mental health, it is a dirty slut, because it just fucks everyone around it.
That's right. Nasty
it is a nasty mistress, because it's not that it just destroys like you and your family. It destroys some things permanently.
Yeah.
Like I said, I compared I know you don't refer to it as alcoholism, but I'm going to say that for lack of a better word, to losing my mom. There's a hole there, right? There's a hole there, and you can't ever fill it. And no matter what you do. And even when you were drinking, it left a hole in you, you know, like things that you can't go back and change. Most of our best memories are when you were drinking, you know, they exist within that hole.
Yeah.
And it's trying to figure out how to live with that hole and be okay that the hole is there. And you acknowledge it and you feel it and it gets the best of you sometimes. But knowing that it's just one tiny little hole that's a piece of the whole thing. And yeah, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of anybody out there, even if you're not sober and you're just trying. I mean, I have to say that even if you don't have any sort of addiction or mental illness, like life is a complete rotty shit sandwich sometimes. And it's hard. And we just need to be more compassionate. Yeah. And I love you.
Thank you.
And you will always be the Gomez to my Morticia.
Yeah.
As long as you have that gorgeous mustache on your face.
Well, and I've changed, you know, I've changed a few things up. I'm doing a lot more of what I would like to call acts of service or you know, random act of kindness, you know, with others. So that's actually got me through it a little bit too, which is good. Yeah. Stuff that I need to do, pay things forward.
And I think that, you know, we'll bring this to a close, and I think that you'll agree with me on this one. I bring it up all the time. We dealt with this with our daughter when she had anxiety. Never alone. Never alone.
Never ever.
You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to go to therapy if you don't want to. That's a personal decision. Just tell one person that you trust. Just one. It doesn't have to be your wife. It doesn't have to be your mom. It doesn't have to be your best friend. Sometimes it's easier to tell someone who you're not super close to because that person won't carry it as much.
Yeah.
Our daughter had anxiety, is really bad in elementary school, and it really started interfering with her daily life. And she finally came clean and said that she would go to the bathroom and cry alone and then wash her face and go back to class like nothing happened. And we told her, like, the sadness, the anxiety, normal emotions, but never alone. Yeah. Never alone. So if you're out there, if you're struggling, the holidays fucking suck when you're trying to deal with this. Just one person. One person, the first person that comes to your head, you just text them, write them a note, an email. It doesn't matter. Just one person, and it really will make a world of difference.
Have 5 people on your phone at all times. You know, you can call, put them in your favorites. Just in case someone can't answer or too busy, you just go to the next one. Just put 5 people in there. You can just boom, 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 and call whenever you need. I thought that was really good advice when I heard that, and I heard that a couple weeks in. That was smart, and it's one of those, you know, break glass in case of emergency.
Yep.
There it is.
And the last thing I'll say is to those out there who are loved ones, who are wives, who are sisters, who are, you know, husbands, you know, whatever, gender doesn't matter. Don't think it's about you if that person doesn't reach out to you. If they're not talking to you about these things, if they're not disclosing these things, don't take it as a personal attack. Don't take it as anything. Number one, it's not about you. And number two, the people who love us the most, those are the people that it's hardest to have these conversations with and allow people the space. And that will in turn prove that you really are a safe person. And that's what love and compassion looks like, is sometimes knowing that this has nothing to do with me. This is not about me.
Yeah.
I love you. Give me a kiss, Gomez. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Have a good time. Eat lots of candy.
We'll run it back next week. Huge guest next week. Stay tuned.
Got a lot of fun stuff coming up.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell to get notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby. Word.